And hello, everyone. Oh wow, I peaked immediately. Oh yeah, we're in it. We're in this to win this. Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing out there? It's the Constantly Calibrating podcast, back after 7.5 months.
It has been that long, hasn't it?
Well, let's see. Here's the define it how you will. The last time I recorded an episode was December 8th with Dylan Avento. As far as a live streamed on Mixer through mixer.com/ConCalPod. That's the last time I did that. And that was me, to be clear. There was an episode recorded at PAX East, episode 292. But honestly, like anywhere approaching traditional members of the team, I think the last one was Blake and I talked to Patrick Dees back in November. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while since anything approaching a traditional Constantly Calibrating episode has been featured. And yeah, we're back. So, as always, I am your host, Josh Silverman, with normally my co-host, Justin Stanley. But tonight we're doing something a little different. So, with Constantly Calibrating coming back after such amount of time, we thought to ourselves, let's do something a little bit different. We could just fire back into it with bring a guest on, have a full team, whether it's myself, Justin, and Ryan, myself, Justin, and Brad, whomever. We could do whatever combination of people we want. But why not do something different? Justin pitched an idea to me, I don't even know when, a long time ago, where myself as the host, I interview members of the team. Kind of, if you ever watched old Rooster Teeth content, Bernie Burns used to do a thing where he played a game with somebody from Rooster Teeth. And they would just...
I forget the name of the series, too. It was pretty good, though.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but it was actually a really cool thing they did. So, kind of think about that, but minus the game aspect. But also with significantly less planning and 1,000% more rambling tirades. Mm-hmm. You might think to yourself, I already watched the Catch-All. What the hell, why am I here for this? Because... while we do talk some personal stuff on Catch-All because Justin and I lose the flow, lose the track, this is specifically talking about Justin, probably talking about myself at some point because we've been friends for such a fucking long time.
Yeah. First time I've ever been interviewed, I think.
Yeah, and that'll be the first time Justin's being interviewed, so we're going to kind of just see where this hour-ish takes us, and yeah, I'm trying to open up a window on my computer, and I've been distracted by my own voice, so... Justin.
Yeah, and Discord is doing that fun thing where it just freezes on me every now and then. So.
Oh, is it? Shit.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a fun episode.
I cannot wait to see where this rambling tirade of insanity goes. So let's see here. I'm gonna just open up one more thing here, and then I will be good to go. Actually, yeah, it looks like I was minorly frozen there in the chat, in the channel as well, or in the stream. Okay. All right, so it looks like we're good. Okay, anyways, so Justin,
yeah,
you have been with Constantly Calibrating for... I've been trying to think about this, and actually, don't mind the audio listeners, I'm opening a beer. You have been with Constantly Calibrating for... I've been trying to think this through. I think you joined... We started in 2012. I think you officially joined 2014. Because I think that's when the YouTube channel launched, was like October 2014, because that's when GTA Online went live.
Somewhere definitely in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love it. We're both drinking. That's what kind of episode this is going to be.
I'm going to so straight up honesty here. I've been having a severe anxiety issue about the return of this for the better part of most of the weekend, but really since like last night, I don't know, around 9 p.m., very suddenly it hit me. Holy shit, we're doing Constantly Calibrating podcast again. And I just, I like melted down and I was like, how do I do this show? Is there an intro? Oh shit, do I have to make a doc? And then like I started remembering all the things I forgot to do. Like a month ago, I made a frame for 4 people and 5 people. I never made one for 2 people. Oh shit, I gotta go make that. That should be easy. Oh, do we want alerts to appear? Because kind of like we're doing a little looser thing where if there is an audience, we're gonna address the audience more. kind of thing with the format of the show. So, do I want that? And then like I just saw all these things, and I kept like panicking myself with the dumbest shit. When everything was ready and I know what I'm doing, so then I'm like, okay. Leading
You're
up
going
to
do another one after this.
Yeah. There's a lot of these things coming up. There's we got Catch All tomorrow, but yeah. So you joined Constantly Calibrating 2014. Originally, I wanted you as our third member. Steven and I started this in 2012. Steven and I were enjoying what we were doing, but it did start out as us kind of dicking around. Then it got to this point where I'm like, okay, Brad had come on the show, and it was fun having a third person. I'm like, I really want Justin for this because he's always been a good friend of Steven and I respectively, and Justin's also the more gamer of type. You know, you're always the more gamer person, certainly compared to Steven. So like Justin and I could do some like let's plays and lure Steven into it. That way we're always kind of producing something, because Steven, wonderful guy, was a little wishy-washy about timing, while I was very anal about things going out at a certain time. So I thought, well, you would fit my mindset. And then I reached out to you and literally never heard back.
Yeah. At that time, we were on speaking terms, and I forget. No, wait. I don't remember if I remember why or not. It could be a ton of things. Sorry, that's not going to help your message.
No, well, that's the thing is, like, really, I've never actually known exactly why. I had theories why always, but like, we had a bit of a fault. So Justin, with his ex, used to live with my wife and I, and then. Well, when she was my girlfriend, used to live with us, and then we had like this. It was not the best living situation. We had a series of weird falling out things. Justin moved from Phoenix you moved back to South Carolina.
Yeah,
weren't super communicative then.
No, and to be honest about that move, is more like, oh crap, my safety comfort area has fallen out. Crap, can I afford this? Crunched a lot of numbers. And I'm like, I don't think I can, even though I think I had some saved up. But I figured like moving back to South Carolina was a safe bet, which has kind of been the problem my whole life. I keep going with the safe bet.
Yeah, safety.
Get more into that.
We'll get into that. We will almost certainly get into that.
So yeah, I kind of went back home, which is South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I don't know if living together, like just like a whole lot of stuff I think was happening, but just wasn't happening. Or it was like I was feeling it with my ex at the time.
I mean, let's just be blunt here. I'm pretty sure your ex was also playing us all against each other. I think we all kind of discovered that a little bit later in time.
She's a bit conniving, but I don't know if she was that conniving.
I just know for an absolute fact that things that I thought were happening in that house, because I was being told that they were happening by her, I found that later from Charnel, were just nothing was happening. So I don't know if it was active trying to pit people against each other, or just trying to play to the audience of each person's personality and not wanting to get into conflict with any individual.
Yeah. I think that was more it too. It's like everybody's kind of like building up their own animosity between each other, but nobody ever talked it out, which is also a problem. Like, because I've never been in a relationship. I never lived close, like with friends.
Same.
So I just lived with my family the whole time. So I never like. It doesn't matter what relationship it is. Communication is key, and that's something I did not learn yet, and something probably would have squashed a lot of things.
Probably, yeah. But you know, that's the thing is, I was fortunate that when I moved out of my mom's house, I was able to afford an apartment. Actually, it was a super cheap apartment, but I was able to afford a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment by myself. To be fair, it was $600 a month. That's not actually terribly expensive. It's expensive when you don't have a job, but
I'm paying twice that now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
for my 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment.
The last house, Charnel, and I had the place we moved after we lived with you was it was $1,600 for 1,600 square feet, and then they kept trying to jack it up, and then the electric bill every month was in the summer was $700.
Jeez.
Well, there was no insulation in the house. That was a whole other issue.
Oh yeah.
But Yeah, no, so I was fortunate enough to live on my own in this very nice apartment. So when Charnella wanted to move in with me, she wanted to move in with friends. I don't remember the reason why exactly. I think that was partially a safety net. I think that also may have been her parents putting that a requirement.
Could have been that too, because it was kind of the same with my ex. Like, we both decided that it was like we're probably not ready to be on, like, in the same place with just us. Actually, that was what we were thinking when I moved back to South Carolina too, to kind of build myself back up.
Sure.
So it might be a little bit of that as well, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Just because it's like you kind of have a buffer in case things get a little tense.
Yeah, you need to have your buffer. You need to have that kind of thing. It's also good to have more people in the house. I just didn't think in those terms. I was just trying to, like, in my own mind, trying to remember exactly what the logistics. So, anyways, we went through a few people. Finally, Jen moved in with Charnel and I, and then you moved in sometime later. And yeah, but that, like, living situation, you and I went. Well, to be fair, you and I went from Star Wars Galaxy's friends, MMO friends, to actual friends. To suddenly, like, move across the country and come live with us.
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
my family was thrilled.
Yeah, like, I mean, it was a complete and utter shit show of a situation. Like, if you think about it,
that reminds me. So basically, how I moved there, like, I didn't get in a car or anything like that. That's how I moved back. But moving there, like, basically, I just packed everything I can into 2 large suitcases. Or maybe one large, one carry-on. Which, like, in the large one, it's, like, just all my consoles, my laptop. And I was like, that's it. Just taking all this with me.
Yep.
But yeah, I totally forgot till now that when I was getting ready to board the plane, that's when my mom wanted to have the talk.
Are you kidding me? I didn't.
Yes.
The talk.
The talk.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, hey, make sure you use condoms. And I'm like,
with Josh?
I should have replied with that.
Yeah. Your and my sense of humor towards each other was not there yet for that to be a logical thing to come up.
Especially not for family members.
Oh, God, no.
God, I totally forgot that until now.
That's amazing. Yeah, so that was, like, the whole situation. And then, yeah, so we kind of got...
Oh, for reference, what was I, 23, 24?
Well, yeah, so we're talking... what year would that have been? That would have been 2009? Or 2008? Did you live with us for 1 year or 2 years?
A solid year.
Because Charnel and I moved in there May of 2007. Well, Discord just skipped around a lot. We moved in May of 2007, and we left in May or July, I cannot remember, of 2010. So somewhere like, so you would have been, like 23, 24.
Yeah, so I think it was a solid year.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So then 24. For both of us. So, like, that was a whole situation, and then friendships falling apart, relationships growing and falling and growing and failing and going all over the map. Charnel and I almost broke up several hundred times in 2008 to 2009.
That I did not know.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember when Charnel went to study abroad in Italy?
Yes.
So when she went to study abroad in Italy, we both had secretly planned to dump each other while she was gone. And end it. And then we got in just to this explosively huge fight about the absolute dumbest thing in the world. And no, I will not talk about what it was in the air. It's that dumb. I'm an Ask Me Anything person, and even I will hold some stuff back. But we got into, like, the dumbest fight in the world. And ended up talking for, like, the first time in a year. Talked about my anger management issues, talked about her anger management issues, talked about just all these different things. And in one 4 or 5 hour conversation on Skype, I decided I was going to propose to her as soon as she got home. And then I ended up proposing to her the following January. But yeah, so, like, it was just like literally just, again, what we talked about earlier in the show, communication's key, so kind of thing. So, but yeah, so yeah, I was saying, so it was a house where a lot of shit was going on, is the long and short of it. And,
pretty much.
And yeah, so by the time we moved into a different place, you moved across the country, circling back, we ended up in this place where you and I had not been communicating, and I just decided to throw at you a couple of years after this. It didn't even occur to me you and I weren't talking, in all honesty.
I think it was actually kind of the same with me too. Like, actually, it was my ex that kind of pushed me to talk back to you, which is the weird part.
Well, yeah, because you and I started talking again, in time, prior to 2000. So we had issues in 2010. I was mad at you. You were mad at me. We mended things up.
We don't know why.
We don't really know why. The joke's always been because of the BearPunch name, but which could have been an issue, but I doubt that was really the issue.
That's part of it.
Oh no, it was part of it, I'm sure, but I'm just saying, like, that I doubt that was the crux of
I just want to note, and I forget was this was on ours or something else, but Jared Petty called you a horrible person.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think that was on ours. That would have been around episode 280 something, if anyone's interested in going back to look at that. So yeah, listen to Jared Petty. I think that was on ours. I'm pretty sure, at least.
Yeah, I just want to point out Jared Petty's on my side. That's all.
Yeah, shut up. So, yeah, so we went. So anyways, Jen convinced us to start talking again because we were approaching the wedding, and the original plan was I was going to have 3 best men, I think. It was going to be Akiva, Steven, and you. But you and I were fighting so much that I, just being a petty jackass bastard, didn't want to call you or do anything like that. Mm-hmm. But Jen helped us sort it out. You came to the wedding. We got along. We had a good time. It was a great time. Spent a lot of time together. And then we stopped talking again after that. And then it was like 2 years before I at least figured out we weren't really talking. Because, fully that we weren't talking that much, because even when I asked you in Constantly Calibrating, you didn't respond, like a year after the wedding, I was like, oh, I guess he hates me, ha ha ha.
I think BearPunch crept back up on me.
Well, because I took it as, a Twitter handle back in 08, 09, shortly after we came up with the thing, but that was like a thing where I think I asked you, like, hey, I Namrevless J for some stupid reasons not available on this platform. Can I use BearPunch to enter a BioWare contest? Yeah,
and in my like, I was so pure at the time, didn't know much of social media. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yep,
or something like that, or I just waved it off. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah. And that was the thing, like, we were both using it for different, like, you were using it for some game things, I was using it for certain game things, there wasn't a lot of crossover, we weren't talking about that, we were both using, like, this inside joke thing. I
still have a bear, I remember I got so petty, to the point I'm like, I'm gonna challenge Josh on this, and I got proof that BearPunch is mine. It's like, I made a Champions character called BearPunch. This was the, it was
Champions Online, yeah.
Yeah, the not City of Heroes game online. Yep.
But the problem was I also had a Champions character named BearPunch, just spelled differently because it wouldn't give me the name, and I didn't know why until later. Because we both had the same petty idea, and then I recreated a character called I think OG or original BearPunch, because again I was a petty bitch too.
Till this day, I also made my Facebook around this time. I think my Facebook handle was like BearPunch85.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Let's see. Facebook, I'm actually going to look it up. I just have pure curiosity.
Dude, I was claiming it everywhere. Like, it was on my battle.net for the longest time.
Yep, it was both of our battle.nets.
I was like, I'm good. Yeah, then I found out, I was like, oh, they put a number at the end, so it doesn't fucking matter. I was like, I was trying everywhere to claim it.
BearPunch85 is, in fact, your Facebook.
Look me up on Facebook, guys. You will not get a comment.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So, like, that just created this whole other facet of things, because when Constantly Calibrating started, I wanted to use real names, but Steven really wanted to use handles. I forget the reasoning why. It was something.
I could kind of understand it because even back then I was still like paranoid about public information online, which is stupid because I mean
everything is everywhere and there's no such thing as privacy.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, yeah, I didn't go by my real name for the longest time.
Yeah, I mean, you were on Facebook. Your thing was like, stop asking for my real name, Stanley, or not Stanley, or SP. Or
I
something
hate signing up for stuff. Always thought it was a scam. It still is, but
yeah, it is. But who cares anymore? It's a scam.
Yeah. Oh man, Sony just leaked all your information, Social Security, all this stuff. Here, it's like, oh, what the fuck? I don't care anymore.
Whatever. The world's coming to an end before I'll ever need Social Security, anyways. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I ain't getting any of that money.
Exactly. So,
but no, like I think part of what it too is like because for all of us, you got us an awesome Groomsman's gift. Which I still have. I can't look at. You put BearPunch on my damn shoe.
To be clear, Charnel put it on your shoe. That is the one thing I will say about that is she put it on the shoe. It was supposed to be on my shoe originally, and and it was supposed to be on my shoe originally. And Charnel said, "I like Silvert more because it's what I've always known you as." And I was like. And I even said to her, I'm like, but wouldn't it be funnier? Because we weren't feuding about this yet at this time. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if Justin and I had the same thing on our shoes since people think we're the same person all the time? Because that was my whole idea behind that is if we look so much alike, it'd be really just funny if we have the same shoes. It wasn't...
It's like, oh, you recognize it's me.
Well,
that's my name.
Here's the funniest thing with the BearPunch thing, and Charnel pointed this out to me recently. We restarted Friends recently as just like a... in the background, who gives a shit kind of show because it's pretty much, it's innocuous. It could be on in the background when the kids are in the room. Just like something just to have on when we don't want Star Trek on. And she remembered there's an episode later than where we're at in the show where Chandler and Ross get into a fight about who created a joke first. And she just suddenly says to me, she's like, you do realize you two are Chandler and Ross and with this stupid BearPunch name. I'm like, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, do you remember what the moral of that story was? What the final joke was? The final joke of that whole spiel at the end of the episode? The joke's not even funny. Was the whole thing at Friends. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. It's still funny.
Yeah. And now I'm wondering who's Chandler and Ross, but does it really matter?
It doesn't matter at all. But
for the record, still have those shoes. I think they're in the closet right over there, to be honest.
Oh, and if we ever do a live stage show where people really go to see us, you have to wear those shoes on the stage.
I mean, am I planning that for a certain PAX panel? Maybe.
Oh shit! All right, I love it. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, this started this whole thing with us and. Yeah, we weren't communicating. So anyways, the reason why the way is, so Steven wanted handles for the name. Again, I don't remember the reasoning why. I think, again, it could have been me also. I really don't know. But he was Darth Sir, I was BearPunch, and I think actually it was partially my reasoning because WordPress for some reason wouldn't display my name correctly. It kept wanting to display it as Silverman, Joshua, and I hated how that looked. And
WordPress came to get my picture in the right orientation. So
yeah, that's a whole other thing. So yeah, so it was just and I didn't know enough about stuff, so I didn't worry. Yeah, and then from there, yeah, I think you saw that and you were just like, well, fuck him, kind of response, which was honestly a reasonable response based on everything else that had kind of come at that point. So yeah, we didn't talk for a while, but then early 2013 rolled around, and do you remember why we started talking again?
Not exactly, no.
The WWE Royal Rumble.
Yes! No, I do!
It was the 2013 Royal Rumble. I don't remember why that Royal Rumble, but I really wanted to watch this. What's up?
Did we do armbar before we started doing videos?
No. So
okay.
Armbar definitely came afterwards. Armbar was around WrestleMania 30 is when
is also just reminding me that I make a lot of decisions based on revelations I had during a wrestling event.
It's amazing how many wrestling related event things strike a chord with us and make us think things. It's the same with me. But yeah, so like it was like Royal Rumble 2013. I don't remember exactly the details of why. I think I was trying to figure out how to watch it. Our cable wasn't letting me buy it. I didn't want to buy it. But somehow, for some reason, you contacted me, I think, to tell me how to watch it. And we ended up just texting each other while we were watching. We just like texted back and forth the whole time. And then like literally, we never discussed why we weren't speaking to each other. You ended up did a couple of Constantly Calibrating episodes. Steven was already gone from the show at this point. You started doing a couple of episodes with Justin and I. You and I started coming up with plans for the YouTube channel. You wanted to do Let's Plays. We started doing all stuff. You and I did not talk about, even slightly, about the fact that there was a hiccup in our relationship.
No, we just kind of picked up like nothing happened.
Yeah, I think we didn't even. I didn't think it wasn't even addressed until like as a joke until like last year almost. Like
maybe a little earlier, but
maybe 2017. I think it may have been like somewhere around there where one of us just made like that. Haha! Remember when we hated each other?
No, and probably a reason for that is because we kept pissing Brad off.
Yeah,
many times. Butt Bonanza's still up on youtube.com/ConCalPod. Go have a look.
Go watch it. It sincerely is one of my favorite videos we've ever made, and literally almost ended an entire friendship. I'm actually not entirely sure to this day if it didn't actually end my friendship with Brad, and then both of us were too stubborn to actually end the friendship, and then we
it's the same thing that happened with us.
It's literally the same thing. I think it ended my friendship with Brad, and then we were just too stubborn to divorce.
Just talk to Brad about like a WWE event coming up, and
there you go,
shit right back up.
I can't wait to do one of these with Brad. Actually,
oh god,
I just feel like that's gonna be an absolute nightmare.
Oh shit, you're alive.
I talk to Brad. I talk to Brad at least once a week, so I know he's alive.
That's sad. That's more to me. He lives like down the street.
It's because we talk mostly kid stuff.
I figured.
With the third kid and all of his stuff going on, we talk that a little bit, and then I like to antagonize him about Spider-Man and his hatred of Miles Morales. So
yeah.
I think that's that's one of my favorite things to do in the world. So yeah, that's kind of like the journey to here in a nutshell. But let's dive backwards a little bit, because you joined Constantly Calibrating in 2014, and right off the bat, you just wanted to do Let's Play stuff.
Yes, main reason for that, or did you have a follow up with that?
No, I mean, I was gonna delve into the reasoning why, but I'd like just go off of that.
Oh no, yeah. My job at the time, I worked IT, but it wasn't very active. Like, I sat at a computer, waited for a work order to come in. By the way, our work order system was through email. That was horrible.
Yeah,
but like it gave me a lot of downtime, which they were cool with. So actually, this is not that I'm not now, but like when I was like a super huge in Rooster Teeth, back where you can like name everybody who's in Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, like every face, every name. You felt like just so melded with it because you felt like a tight knit group. And nothing wrong with Rooster Teeth. It's just they blown up. Good for them.
It's just they're right now. They're at a company that I couldn't tell you. I could probably name 10 employees, and they're the same employees I could have named 5 years ago. Maybe 15 if I really put my mind to it.
Pretty much. So yeah, watched pretty much every bit of content that came out there, every Let's Play. I'm like, God, I would love to do this. Also had a friend that started a YouTube channel. Like, oh man, he is so cool. I want to be on there. So yeah, I just really wanted to do it. I'm like, I think we could do this.
And then also, you gotta remember, is also just thinking back how long ago that is, because like just today, a new GTA Online experience launched, the casino.
Yeah.
We launched this channel specifically trying to coincide with the launch of GTA Online. Like, that was pretty much the entire goal of it. So that launched in August, October of 2014. Like,
got it.
Like, that's insane to think about.
Yeah.
I'm going to be streaming GTA Online tomorrow from when we're recording this, and we created a YouTube channel to play GTA Online.
You did? Yeah, because I remember, like, we were planning it, and we're like, we need to launch on something big, and we need to stick with it. one of those things didn't happen.
Well, what we didn't expect was just how fucking bad the server architecture was.
The server architecture also, just
and
how
impatient you and Brad were.
Yeah, exactly.
We had no patience to sort things out. We had no patience to wait on things. We weren't great at planning our stuff out. And then also the blunt truth is, you and I had a one specific vision. You and I had a very like-minded vision of what we wanted to do, which was very specific and similar to what Achievement Hunter started doing with GTA, but a little more off the walls, kind of actually where they ended up going with their GTA Online stuff. While Brad just wanted to be wacky shooting people. And wanted no planning, no nothing, didn't want, and that's fine. But we were trying to do a hobbyist group where Brad was trying to do a hobbyist group, you and I were trying to run a business, and we never communicated that was the plan. And had we done that, I don't know, maybe we could have gotten something out of it. I don't know if it ever been popular, but at least it would have been more enjoyable to do.
At the same time, like, I don't want to say that's the most productive we've been in ConCal. It's definitely the most productive I've been in ConCal.
I mean, you gotta remember, there was a period of time where we were editing 20 hours of video a week.
Yeah, we had a video up every weekday. Which, God, looking back on that, that's insane to me now.
To be clear, when we say videos, we don't mean like we edited down like little 5-minute like snippet clips. Like we were making we were making 30 to 45-minute videos out of 4 hours of content each.
Not that only that. Everybody had their own video tracks. We switched between the video track. Like Achievement Hunter was my inspiration, and we were damn near on par as far as editing at that time, and at the time they were. It goes like multiple camera stuff. We started messing with keystoning. We're like, oh, that's a cool thing. Like they were highly edited. Everything had like a name tag that switched. We didn't have cams at the time, but it was nuts. I think the biggest video we did was Dying Lights. I think we had 6 different video and audio tracks.
Yeah, because we did that. When we did that, that was 6 different video, 6 different audio. Was there webcams for that one?
No, not at the time.
No, not that time. Yeah, okay.
I don't think we ever got to webcams.
Yeah, no, we definitely did webcams at one point. Oh, shoot. I just noticed chat's popping. Just because, Beto and Senor Babbitt, both thank you for those hosts, and hello there. Welcome back. Beto, I haven't seen you in a long time in a thing because we weren't doing shit for 7.5 months. That's on us.
Yeah, that's on us.
We're kind of exploring the history of Constantly Calibrating. And yeah, you finally caught us. I mean, you caught us literally on... This is the first Constantly Calibrating live podcast since December?
Yeah.
November?
Yeah.
So, you caught us a good time. So, yeah, new rules of the show. Also, we do talk to the audience. Crazy thing of that, as it pertains and is applicable. So, yeah, it's... But yeah, no, like we were doing crazy shit with editing. Like I think back on it now and I'm like, I don't have the patience for that anymore. But here's the weird thing about it. I do, because I think to myself, oh, I don't like editing. I don't like doing stuff, but you give me an editing project that I can sink into and like, dude, I get a boner in my heart. Like it actually makes me feel so good inside.
It was that same here, and we'll probably get into this soon too, but like that kind of stopped, at least for me. I picked up a new job, which just... One, I didn't have that free time anymore.
Sure.
Because it was a job. I mean, unless it's technically a job, but like this one's
job.
I am always moving and always, like, I don't have a set location. I don't have a desk. I don't have any of this.
Yeah, you can't really set shit up and go.
No. So that's kind of where I stopped at, but where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, but like even after that, even like after I'm just worn out because my job is just, I'm a broken person after I'm done with my job.
I mean,
it's just, I don't know, it wears me out that much. I guess I'm getting this now too, and I don't know why. It might be because I'm not challenged anymore there. Like it's the same crap over and over. Great job that people would want. I'll give them that, or somebody that. I definitely have my issues I won't get into, but I mean, like, all in all, it's a good job to have, like, if you need a job to support you, but it's, like, I just feel so underutilized, just so dead there. And I remember like even after that, like I forget what I was editing. Was it for ConCal? I don't remember. It might have been something else. But like once I started, I was like, I just got sucked into it. And I was like just cutting all this here and thing, pulling other things in, getting other ideas for it. So I know I still like deep down have that still burning in there, like their creative side, which my job doesn't let me really do anymore. And the odd times that I do get a little creative with my job or can be creative with my job, I do like I tend to shine. Like I spark up. I'm actually excited what I did that day instead of just burning out over the same stuff over and over and over and over.
Well, that's what I've always said. I mean, you are an incredibly creative person. You and I actually used to get in arguments about this back in.
Yeah, she asked me. I was like, "No, man, I'm not creative at all. I can't do this. I don't."
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I'm trying to think. Like I don't think you and I argued about it. I think it predates living together. I think we argued about it back like even pre-WoW. Like this was like Star Wars Galaxies / City of Heroes time. Like you and I would argue because like I would talk to you and I would hear like the way you spoke, and I'm just like I would always say to Charnel, I'm like, this Justin guy sounds like me, but like 1 year behind on learning about himself. Like, because I think of how I used to always describe you to Charnel. I'm like, we literally are the same fucking person, except he's just like 1 year behind on like learning who he is as a person almost. Not that because like, I knew who I was as a person at that point.
No, but I completely understand. That might be because like I played MMOs at the time, but I never got like super clicky with a group.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like it was Star Wars Galaxy where I started to branch out, like get in a guild, start to learn about these people in a guild, start to have wrong feelings about people in a guild. But yeah, all the stuff. But yeah, it's more where like I started opening up to strangers, I guess.
Sure. I mean, makes sense, as it were. But yeah, it's like I always thought you were just for this very creative-minded, focused person, and it's been really cool over the last few years to see you really like kind of blossom out with that. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Marcus R20011, for that follow. Hello. So yeah, yeah, it's just been like watching this journey, because again, I always thought you were this creative person. So like when you finally started breaking out and like started, because you were the one of the two of us who actually experimented first with the editing stuff, because the way I edited is I just threw everything in a blender and I just cut. You actually started like experimenting with like the pull-out shots and like all these different cool techniques and things like that, and it was like, oh shit, Justin's going off here. This is actually pretty fucking awesome to see. So like my big thing like the last few years that you've been in this particular job has been like get you back to creative person, whether it's you getting a job in like PR, whether it's you getting a job in marketing, whether it's you sticking to content creator stuff. Like I just want to see you blossom in creativity. It's why I enjoy any time you kind of start doing with these things and start pitching your ideas, as it were.
Yep. And like I know it's still there because sometimes I do take off on this stuff. Sometimes during when we're at conventions, because I could just focus on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have nothing else to think about.
I mean, and you get me every now and then where I just have that creative spark in the middle when I'm working. I'm like, oh man, I got this. I want to do this. I want to do this right now. Mm-hmm. And I even seen it in my job. Like, for instance, I mean, this is out there. I work IT for a school district. Mm-hmm. One project I had to set up was a AR sandbox, which basically like it is a sandbox as it says, but it has a image projected on it and also uses a Kinect sensor to sense depth and motion tracking, and basically like it's like a topographical map. So like the sand like hills you make, like it looks like a mountain range. If you go too deep, you'll see water. Anyways, I somehow got in charge of that project. And I was like, oh man, how do I make this work? I know I can. Like, it was also with Linux too, so I had to relearn Linux to do this. Okay. And like, I was just sparking. I was just like, I lost track of time. I still like forgot to take lunch. That type of spark. I was just really into it. And then like with my job, like I can't predict where I'm going to go. Like I got scheduled somewhere else to just do regular work orders. So I was like just so bummed. And then when I get back here, it's like, yeah, cool, awesome, doing this. And then I don't know, I was happy. Like I actually legitimately enjoyed my job because I felt like I guess I didn't look at it till now, but I was doing something a little creative there. Like I was trying to explore something that I just all of a sudden pick up an interest in, and yeah, like it was good times. And then I went back to my normal stuff. I'm kind of slumped back down. It's weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also kind of like it's essentially it almost kind of created that post-convention experience for you, where like the post-con, it's not depression, it's kind of a crash where for those who don't attend events, just as whether it's an attendee or a content creator or anything around or in the middle, when you're kind of in that environment, riding that high, when you get home, and sometimes not even when you get home, for me, it usually hits the day after the event closes when I'm waiting for my flight. And it's like, oh, I was hanging out with people all the time, and now I'm going to go home. I love going home, but like, I'm just going to be around family, and I'm not going to literally see a person other than my family for like the next 3 months. I love them, but like, wow, that's, and it'll hit me hard kind of thing. So that's kind of what you're describing. It's like you hit this high where you had this creative project, and then suddenly there was no creative project to follow it. So you're just like, oh, monotony.
It's not only that too. I mean, it's also like, oh, I'm in this area with a lot of like-minded people. Oh, I'm making friends. I'm making contacts. Oh, we go out drinking every night. I know that person. That person knows me. Holy crap! Like all that. Yeah. As soon as you get back home, it's like, great. I'm back working my job where nobody knows who I am. I don't really want to talk to these people. They don't get what I do. So yeah, it's a weird feeling. It sucks every time.
Yeah, no, it's an awful kind of experience. But it's kind of like hard. How do we move past that? As almost. But yeah. So because where do I want to go with this? So I always just try to like think about how to bring my creative side out when I'm able to. But all right, I want to actually throw out a couple. So we have some questions. I couldn't decide if I wanted to save this during this show or just throw them in here and there.
Whatever feels good.
Yeah, we'll figure out how we're going to do these for future versions. For those who weren't here at the beginning, this one-on-one thing is not the normal Constantly Calibrating episode. This is a special start for the relaunch. We're going to do these every roughly 10-ish episodes where I'll interview a member of the team, current or past. And we'll, once we run out of people, which we'll see where we go from there, but doing it every 10 episodes, like, that's a lot of time. So Nathan at Two-Headed Giant asks, what one sentence would you tell yourself from 10 years ago?
Oof. That's a good one.
Yeah. I thought that was the first question, one of the first questions we got asked, and I was like, okay, I feel that.
Sorry, did you say question or just one thing you would tell yourself?
What's one sentence, specifically a single sentence, you would tell yourself from 10 years ago? So what would you tell Justin from one sentence to tell Justin from 2009, 24 years old?
God, it's a Nike ripoff, but just do it. Shia LaBeouf, whichever way you want to do. God, yeah, like, I kind of wish I knew this at a younger age, too. It's like, hey, I mean, you got that idea. This is something you want to do. Just go for it. Which is something I need to take in account now. But, of course, like, being an adult, responsibilities and crap. But, yeah, It's like, just go for it. Do what you want to do. You can turn your passions into something.
It's amazing how important of a lesson that is, because I think back, I was talking to... Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone the other day about this. Shit, I'm trying to remember. I was talking to someone the other day about this, where I was thinking back on when we used to live together. And when Steven even briefly lived with us, like, this is pre-Constantly Calibrating, this is just, like... 3 best friends all hanging out and stuff like that, and we would play a lot of Halo, we would do a lot of things, and
watch a lot of Stargate.
Watch a lot of Stargate, but we'll specifically think about gaming. We would play a lot of games together. Thinking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 being out right now, we played Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. We would do all these different things, and one of the things I always remember is Charnel, who does not like watching people play video games. She does not like anything gaming related. She would always kind of say how she thought when you, Steven, and I, particularly, or even just you and I were together, she thought it was just really funny, the banter. and she would actually like catch herself like watching us play a game. And you and I both had the same thing where we're like, oh, we should like get a capture card, and why don't we just like record ourselves doing this shit? I've already got a camcorder. Again, a camcorder back then, but like I've already got a camcorder. So why don't we just like invest? Why don't we just buy like a capture card? And those can't be that expensive. And we both looked it up, and back then we're talking again 2009ish. Before Achievement Hunter struck big with Let's Play. Like, we're talking the very, very beginning. Like, I think maybe right as Achievement Hunter was kind of starting to move into Let's Plays. Let's Plays were not a major thing on the internet then. So, Elgato wasn't a thing. Avermedia wasn't really a thing yet. So, like, we looked up a capture card. I think it was like $350 to $500, somewhere in that price range. And we both just, even though we both had more or less disposable income, I didn't have kids. I had a decent amount of money in savings. I hadn't bought a house yet. Like, there was all these reasons. We both were just like, there's no way that could be worth it.
God, I'm like, God, man, that's a whole 360.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, no, that was like our response. It's like, we could just buy another console for that much money. Like, why would we don't know what we're doing? Who would, how would we even distribute? Because again, 2009, I wasn't watching YouTube in 2009. I didn't literally watch YouTube until like 2011 for the first time.
We didn't comprehend investment.
No, we didn't really understand the idea of investment because, again, playing video games could not possibly make us money. So why would we invest money into it?
No, I kind of want to get into that too. Like, that's kind of like, I love my parents to death. They're actually the ones that got me into gaming, even though they're not big on games themselves. But they always had gaming crap around. Like, I started with a Commodore 64.
Same.
Tooth Invaders. What up? God, I can't remember. It actually is Tooth Invaders. From there, we also had like a Atari 2500, 2600. Yeah, one ET's on because I still have that cartridge somewhere.
That I believe the 2600. I had 2 different Ataris and a Commodore 64 growing up.
Yeah,
my dad ran an electronics store called Lightspeed back in New York City. If anyone ever went there in the late 80s.
Actually, I need to go back to this because I need to ask my parents because I don't know why they kept actually getting us the stuff. Because the next big step was Nintendo. We had the Nintendo that came with the power pad, the light gun, and the 3-in-1 Mario Duck Hunt and Track and Field.
Okay.
And that just blew my mind. Like, we usually didn't have it like on our main TV in the living room. Or no, that's where it started at. And eventually, like, it went to my parents' room so they could moderate it more. But then I was just in my parents' room all damn day. God, I remember sitting there playing like the first Ninja Turtle game on NES.
Jesus
being
Christ.
Up there with Donatello going on Rocksteady, throwing a bow down because that reach was a cheat, even though that game was cheap. But yeah, like, I don't know. That really, like, I just got sucked into gaming so hard. But at the same time, I did have my family's mindset is, like, skipping a lot of years, going through school, that, you got to get good grades. You got to think about what you want to do. You got to get that traditional job. And, why are you playing these games all the time? They're not going to bring you anything.
Yep.
You can't make a job off this. Oddly enough, they still supported me gaming, which really mixed messages.
It's really amazing. Like, you're not going to make money at this, but at the same time, hey, we still support you doing this shit.
And worried them that I was always on it, but they still got me stuff when I asked.
I mean, it makes sense to an extent.
Yeah, because like I mean, they kept it going. Like, I remember one year for Christmas, it was a huge Christmas. I got the PlayStation, and my brother got Nintendo 64.
Okay.
Following Christmas, we finally got a Dreamcast, which I think was like a year or two after it launched. And then PS2 was the first console I actually like saved up and bought with my own money. Special time. But yeah, it was weird. And I hate to say, I think that held me back a lot too, because I never pursued this thing. I mean, who did at the time? That, oh man, you could play and talk about games and make a living off that.
I mean, very forward-thinking people pursued it. People who had a complete different mindset about everything involved. Those are the ones who
was like at the
it.
times, like I was big into IGN and GameSpot, more GameSpot at the time.
Yeah, I remember you being big in the GameSpot.
Oh yeah. Oh man, whole Metal Gear Solid 3 forums, word up. I still have a friend from that.
Jesus.
God, I got like super. That's when I started getting like super involved with like these communities and stuff like that too. But even at the time, dude, like I shocked myself. Like it was a year or two back. Like I told you, it's like holy crap! I just found a review I wrote for a game. I didn't remember writing reviews.
It's crazy what we used to do in this space. I used to always think to myself that I was only ever a lurker on the old City of Heroes comic and pop culture forum. Yeah. And then I actually, I forget how, but I came across shit that I actually wrote on there. And I was like, I don't remember writing anything on there.
Same. God, I think that review I found, I wrote a few. But the one I found was like for Dragon Ball Z Sagas. Horrible game, by the way, but I found my fun into it. And that was like my whole thing is like, I find my fun even in horrible games.
Yep.
And always like pointing out the good. Yep. Because at the time, I mean, I still find it hard to do now. It's like, it's hard for me to be harsh. I mean, it's easy to throw out and that happens. Like, this game sucks. It's like, oh man, this is horrible. But like, to get in depth with it, I never did. And when I do get in depth with it, I have nothing but like nice things to say for the most part, but also to point out like other stuff.
I get that. I get that.
And that's the part too. Like I was like, oh man, I could do this. It's like, but I hate writing. I hate writing so much. Like the whole English class. That's like my worst nightmare. Like the biggest nightmare to me is hey, write this. Here's a blank sheet of paper. Just write anything, and that's when I freeze up. But anytime I get into something that I'm like passionate about, it just goes. Which is something I need to remind myself of now. Actually, except I'm a hasty writer. I will just blot everything down on paper. Sometimes I'll organize it, and I'm like, it's done. Good, go. Like I'm bad about editing, and
I mean, I've seen your PAX notes.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if you chew in my document for Catch All Tomorrow, you can see the fun there.
I did read it, and I had an anxiety attack, a very gentle one, with the planning for that show. I was like, okay, we're going here. Cool. Justin's organizing his thoughts, and I can't understand anything I'm reading, but he's the host. Let's see where we go.
It's like, I need to get back into that, too, because even back, we did, like, E3 and stuff.
Yep.
Or back when I did, like, my first few conventions, like, I wrote everything down. Lesson, you write stuff down, you kind of remember it a little better.
Yeah, you actually are the reason why you're the reason why I actually do that, because for the longest time, whenever we attended events, I would just be like, so we used to do, every day we would do a recording, particularly for PAX events, sometimes for other ones where we would just discuss everything we saw. And my notes were, I would look at our calendar of appointments. Which is why also sometimes I would completely and utterly forget about the random games I saw. And then finally, I think you said to me at one point, you're like, you need to just write at least a basic note for every game so you remember stuff. And I'm like, no, I've got a great memory. And you're like, just write a basic note and the content will be better. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm not going to do that. And then finally I start carrying a journal around. I want to say, maybe last PAX West, I may have actually started doing it at RTX last year. And guess what? I actually remembered stuff better because I forget that I'm like in my mid-30s now. And
not that. It's just that's how my memory works. Like
it's good for memory recollection regardless of age too. Let's be clear.
I think it's like I always say I have shit memory, and I do for the most part. I can't pull what I have in here. But if I have something that jogs that memory, something that I can see that I can relate to it, I can usually pull it right out and just get everything out about it too. So that's usually what writing does. Because if you look at any notes I write or my writing in general, it is incomprehensible to anybody who reads it. It's coded just for me, not on purpose though. But I can see him like, oh yeah, and then just connect the dots. That's kind of how my note writing goes.
Makes sense. Yeah, my notes are all over the map, but.
That's my warning through, like, when I went through grade school, too. And someone's like, hey, can I copy your notes? And I start off with, you can, but understand, I didn't write these notes for you. I wrote them for me. Good luck. Here you go.
Yeah, that was... So, again, my not writing notes thing goes back to, like, school as well. I was in classes that had required note-taking. Like it was mandatory that you had to take a page of notes at least every single class. And I just openly refused. I'm like, if I take notes, I'm not listening to you. My brain cannot write and listen. I cannot do the two things at the same time. And I would be like, I will fall behind the class. And I proved it to a teacher finally. I proved it to the school system at one point, and they actually gave me an exception in that, just because the way my brain was wired, at least at the time, I never learned that lesson. So that's why I was always anti-note taking when we went to conventions. But
Gotcha.
I don't take notes now. Like when we have an appointment, I rarely will write notes during a thing. I will smash myself up against a wall and write them afterwards. Actually, this PAX West coming up, my plan is to just record videos instead of take notes.
I need to do that too, because I have really fallen out of the note-taking things. Granted, I've been getting jaded lately.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the interest itself, it's just like, God, I really want to do this, but this is what I have to do. And like, because I know you see me at the last year, like I keep forgetting my notebook. I really don't take notes. I kind of struggle to remember things. So that's something actually at PAX West I'm hoping to do. And something else I also learned too, which we can get into this later as well or now. Interviews, like I always schedule, always like look what you're interested for. But like I was really bad. It's like I really had no interest in this game. I guess I'll go talk to him. I'll go handle this one. But no, it's something like Greg Miller even says like it's like I don't care if I don't know anything about it. I'm about to talk to somebody about something they're extremely passionate about, and that's fucking cool.
Yep, and that's what I taught myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing lesson.
Yeah, and that's a different mindset I have, and then you kind of just go from there, and just like you get out of the basics, and you just have a more candid conversation about it. You just kind of look at where they perk up at and kind of ask more into that, which is something I need to start practicing again myself.
Well, I was listening to just speaking of Greg Miller, they have a show. What's the name of the new interview show? I always forget the name.
We Have Cool Friends.
We Have Cool Friends. He was interviewing Brian W. Foster of Critical Role, and they were talking about interview styles and stuff like that, and how Brian W. Foster was talking about the fact that he once wrote notes. He knew of an interview he had for almost 3 months. And he literally had a whole planned interview for 3 months. He went to this person's, Amanda Palmer. He went to her concert, and one song into it leans over to his fiance and says, "I'm throwing out the interview." Because he saw something during that concert that just said, "Nope, we're going a different direction." And then him and Greg talked about the fact that, the amount of times that they've had a plan, and 2 minutes into the interview, it's just like, fuck the plan. So that's kind of what I mean. I've been doing that for a while, but I take it more seriously now, especially after hearing people I really respect who do this. Mm-hmm. I take notes. I have my notes in place for the interview, and that's more or less, it's a fallback. It's a couple of topics I can address if we hit either a dead spot or I ask something that they don't talk as much as I'm expecting about, like that we can just some way to carry the interview forward if we just hit any weird points. You have an expectation not. But really, my thing is like, if I write 10 bullet points and I hit only one of those, that's a successful interview in my book.
Yeah. That's like thinking like RTX myself, like, and that's kind of where, you got me back in like the shape of things to kind of, to put this in picture, like, we're communicating again. I just had a really bad breakup. Mm-hmm. We started doing the videos, but then like, RTX comes around and we start thinking about conventions, which you have done before, but you kind of stopped for a couple years or year or two.
Well, yeah, the short version of it is Steven and I went to RTX 2012, the second ever RTX, purely because him and I wanted to go to RTX, the original one, because we were fans of RTX, but we didn't hear about it until 2 days beforehand. And they had sold out, a millisecond into them being on sale. It's well known they were trying to sell 500 tickets, and the system literally got so overburdened that they sold like 1,100 tickets. And they just decided, fuck it, we're going to do a show for 1,100 people instead. So 2012 was a little more organized. It was coming up, and we just were like, oh, there's like this thing we were literally about to buy tickets, and we saw that there was a media pass option, and we didn't know what that meant. So we applied. I've told the story 1,000 times. We were offered Bernie Burns and Matt Hullum for the podcast 24 hours later. And thank you, Sithos, for the host, by the way. anyways, so yeah, we did that. I actually learned a lot about myself. I learned that I was actually more of a leader than I thought. I thought Steven was the leader. I learned that I was that I enjoy talking to people. But after that, the only event I did was I did Phoenix Comic Con in 2013, which I started doing yearly after that. But I didn't want to do the next RTX. They even offered us passes without applying. Because they were that fucking desperate for some outside media attention.
Well, I don't know if they're just that desperate too, or they're just that like, holy crap, people want to interview us. People want to talk to us. People want to cover us.
Well, I've gotten the story from their old person around PR. They were desperate in the sense that mainstream media had zero interest in covering the event at all. That particular PR group knew that small content creators were the way to go because for the very small price of a pass, they could get an insane amount of content. And even though the Constantly Calibrating content that went out was not particularly good, if anyone saw the interview with Gus, Bernie, Grace Helbig, Chris Damaris, I think all 4 of those went out. And we recorded one more that I can't remember. They were bad. The interview quality was okay. It was just the audio was terrible. There was a lot of issues. But I think what it was we made a good impression on the PR people. And they're like, okay, these guys are okay. So we got an invite for 2013. But I didn't want to spend the money on it. Charnel wasn't interested in spending the money on it. Steven and I pretty much ended our friendship at that point.
Pro tip for being good with, like, staying good with PR people, communication. Show up on time. That's pretty much it.
If you don't show up on time, don't feel bad. Send a text or phone number. Every PR person will give you their contact information on site. Just contact and just straight up say, hey, I'm stuck in a taxi. Hey, I fucked up. Hey, I ate the wrong food. I'm having a diarrhea attack in the bathroom. I've literally used that one. It's they sometimes don't appreciate that level of honesty, but they appreciate the honesty.
So we're back to communication.
Communication is key. Communication is key. Communication is key. It's the main things. But 2014 rolled around. It was you, me, Brad, and Brian were, I think, the only people in Constantly Calibrating. Yeah. And I think I just got an idea in my head. I'm like, I want to go to RTX again. I'm like, Brian, do you want to go to RTX again? Do you want to go to RTX for the first time? He's like, yeah, sure. I asked Brad, and Brad was like, I can't really swing it. And then I'm like, Justin, you want to go to RTX? You're like, I guess. Like, that was pretty much, I think, like literally the responses. I'm like, good enough for me. I'll book us a hotel. We'll make an appointment. That's a good one. We'll get to that one. We will. So yeah. So so I'm like, I'll book this. We'll see where we go. And then interview requests started coming in, and like we booked.
Holy crap! Did we book?
We booked a bunch of interviews ahead of time. We booked with Ray Nervais Jr., which is when the yearly Ray interviews started. We booked Matt Hullum, then CEO. I mean, I think that was right when he became CEO.
Yep.
A bunch of others. If you can go to youtube.com/ConCal and watch all these if you're curious to see very early ConCal stuff. Booked Montiome. Which that was the interview that PeopleMagazine.com featured, right? I think with his death.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a seeing that pop up on People.com blew my mind.
Yeah, great interview though. It's just why it popped up on People.com, but
it was a very good interview. Was that 2014 or was that 2015? Actually,
if I pull up my notebook, I could tell you.
In any case, we got a bunch of interviews that year, and one of them was with, I don't remember, did we just suddenly randomly nail an interview with Greg Miller, or did you ask me to schedule an interview, not really expecting one way or the other who was interviewing, but I don't remember exactly because I didn't know who Greg Miller was. I'm just going to be straight up. I've later realized that I like saw him once or twice do like a call-in thing with Kevin Pereira on Attack of the Show. Mm-hmm. But like I didn't really know who Greg was. I kind of vaguely knew who Tim was because I had I really wanted to watch IGN content. Yeah. But Tim and Nick, I had a crush on both of them. I thought they were both really cute.
Gotcha. By the way, Montiome was definitely 2014.
2014. Okay, cool.
That's basically like just all the interviews that I had.
That was the largest swarm of interviews. But anyways, we scheduled.
I remember this. Yeah, this is the time like I'm like, crap, it'd be cool to work for IGN or something like that too. Mm-hmm. And at the time, like I knew of Greg Miller, but I didn't know Greg Miller.
No, again, he was an IGN person and a God. What was the show that they did with Rooster Teeth? Because this is how I learned about Greg Miller. Gauntlet season 2. I learned that was when I truly learned about Greg Miller, and this was again right before this RTX.
That also fueled my stereotypes for Greg Miller too. It's like, God, he's just loud. He likes to be annoying. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's like, but I kind of like it.
He was my favorite thing about that season. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the main thing it was is like, cool, man. I would love to talk to somebody from IGN. I think that's the biggest reason I wanted to like get Greg Miller at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, so it was like a case of like, okay, I think it was like I sent out the list of people we were offered, which was a lot of people, and I think you said Greg Miller, and I'm like,
I take no, that year, like I think you took the shotgun approach and you just requested.
Was that the request year?
Yeah.
Okay, then it was Then maybe. I think
because we had a bunch of interviews.
Yeah, we did like 20-something interviews in 3 days with 3 people. I remember when we told Brad about how many we were doing, and we like started telling people back home. They were like, none of you have ever really interviewed a person except for me with a few podcasts, mm-hmm. but like none of you have really ever interviewed a person in person. Why the fuck are you doing? And it's like, go big or go home. Was kind of my mentality of the situation. So you said you were going to interview Greg, and I'm like, and I kept asking you, are you sure? Because I thought you were capable, but I also was like, Justin's very shy. How can this possibly go? And I've gone on record, and I still say this. 5 years later, you've done individually probably a good 30, 40 plus interviews. As a group, you've been part of 100 at this point, probably. I think probably close to 100, I think, as a group total. I wouldn't be surprised. But like we've done a shit ton of, and as a company, we've done so many interviews and interview-like content, and I still look back, and that's probably my top 3 favorite interviews of the entirety of Constantly Calibrating. Because there was no preconception. So, can you tell people the story of the Greg Miller 2014 interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So like going into this, like I just was like leading up to RTX journals, like, well, yeah, I get to interview Greg Miller, cool, right? And then like the day of happens, I'm like, holy crap, and then I start obsessively like research where I'm filling out my notebook and just like,
I remember Brian and I just like sitting down and we're like shooting the shit and we're like planning a couple of our interviews and stuff like that. And we're just like, oh, look who's in the media room. Hey, let's go talk to Joel Heyman. Let's go talk to this person. And you're just sitting in like the corner almost like almost shaking, trying to write notes. And we're jackasses, so we're not paying attention at all to the fact that you're like having a clear problem.
Yeah, definitely. So just going crazy with it, and then it was getting to the moment too, and then that's when I kind of got like starstruck because like everybody who was anybody who was walking in the room at the time, because like Bernie Burns walks in the room, I was like, oh crap, that's Bernie Burns. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Freddie Wallen walks in the room. God, it sounds bad, but like a bunch of other people start walking in the room. We have a weird wide angle picture that I don't remember exactly where it is, but we have some picture of that. It's, that shows off all the people in the room. I'm gonna try to see if I can actually find that. Yeah, we're super amateur at the time and super not well balancing our fandom with professionalism.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did the thing, and it's like, oh man, picture. But yeah, so like everybody was just entering a room at the time, because this is back in like they had a media room, and that's where everybody went. They didn't have separate media rooms or special ones or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like Greg walks in, fucking just greets everybody like he's known them forever. They all like sit down together at the table and just have this like just start conversate with each other too. And then Alex like, oh crap, man. I think you were out at the time. I forget what we had a run to do. I was like, crap, I gotta talk to him. I gotta introduce myself. It's getting time. I guess we need to start this. So I went to go introduce myself to Greg, and first thing is like, oh shit, yeah, how you doing? I mean, sit down, talk with us. So he like invited me to the table with all these people.
Yeah,
you just joined the conversation.
By the way, I'm dropping some pictures of from 2014 in here just so people can see.
I see a wall.
It's a delay.
Gotcha.
It's a very big picture.
God,
but
I was thinner. You can still see my nipple though. But yeah, so he just invited me in. We just started a conversation. So I was chatting with him. Steimer was there at the time too. Back when they were together. Steimer, shout out, first one actually points out, Constantly Calibrating, is that a Mass Effect thing? I'm like, started off as that, yes, very much. And I gave a shout out to her Peacekeeper phone case. But yeah, all that, and then we get to the point where the interview, which was a mess, because every corner, every inch of that media room was taken up. And yeah, all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, let's go do this in the hallway. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah, Greg's just like, all right, let's just go in the hallway. We'll figure it out. And we just like go outside the room, and like I'm just standing there, like I don't know how we're gonna do this audio. What the fuck are we doing here? This is a terrible, terrible plan.
So while you're trying to set up,
by the way, I'm trying to set up with Nick Scarpino, an actual producer, which started a whole thing that went on for years. Of Nick very politely telling me very nicely, dude, you're doing a great job, and then walking a few feet away, talking to someone saying this guy's terrible. It started a trend.
Well, that's the thing too. Like at that time, like I didn't know who Nick Scarpino was.
I knew him as a guy I saw in the background in pictures of IGN.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, oh man, this must be Greg's handler.
Exactly.
So yeah, I was like nervously going over everything over my notes, and all of a sudden I just started talking to Nick. We started talking about windscreens and versus like just the full microphone covers and stuff like that. Just stuff I have no experience about besides my own amateur experience. Like, yeah, it sounds better since I've been using it.
You've shot the shit so well with him, like you would not know that you knew jack shit about what you were talking about.
No, I had no idea what I was talking about. Then all of a sudden the fucking interview comes up. I'm like, okay, so Greg and I are lining up each other. Greg, I think, was talking to me, but I was still like looking through my notes. You yelled like, all right, ready. And I just threw down the notebook and then the interview started.
Yeah, like I actually think I have the video of you just throwing the notebook off to the side as well.
Nice. That's like Greg Miller popped my cherry.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Miller, like that was your first interview.
Cut that out.
Yeah, we don't cut things here. And
like, cut it out and send it to him.
I will actually send that to him, absolutely. But yeah, like that was your first interview, and I just pulled up the screen. I actually went through and I'm like looking at the video screen caps. I was just curious how many interviews we did, and I have a grand total of 30 screen caps here. I think very few of these are doubles, so like it looks like we did about 21 to 22 interviews for our first time. We're talking about anywhere from Abby Heppy, which is one of the worst interviews I've ever did because I just was so tired and I had nothing to say, to Ashley Jenkins, to people from Bungie, where they invited us before Destiny came out to their partner program.
Yes.
That never went anywhere.
Deej, lovely person.
Very lovely. To our beginning of our friendship with people from the Behemoth, to all these things, to Jeff Ramsey giving me parenting advice, because I just found that before, like literally 2 days before we flew out, that my wife was pregnant with my first kid.
Yep.
To our very, very extraordinarily drunk interview with Pony Studios. RIP. Yeah, it's crazy to look back on that. That's so long ago.
Like, holy crap, we produced so much content and we're so excited about it. And I mean, they weren't great interviews, but we got them out.
I think I think overall, I think we batted, like, I don't know batting terms, so I don't know why I'm saying batted, but I think we did, like, I think like a good 75% of the ones we did were really good interviews. Some generic stuff because we were inexperienced, but I think overall some really great stuff.
Also, who we did them with were like, you couldn't ask for better starting interviews, especially being Greg Miller. Like he will politely carry you and keep the conversation rolling while still trying to get you to do your own thing. And like I couldn't ask for a better first interview.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you want to talk about the fact of why we're friends, how Justin and I ended up on Kind of Funny Games Daily, it's because Justin wanted to interview Greg Miller in 2014. Yeah, I mean, that's literally the start of that journey.
Pretty much. But during that interview, I still can't remember if this is the first on-camera interview about it, but...
he said it was the first. If it's the thing I think it is, he said it was the first time.
Yeah, it was, which we'll get into his whole Tim Grant story. which just got very touching. I felt bad because I was trying to remember about this. Like, with Grant Gustin? That's not right. But no, it's Tim Grant. And that's where Greg got kind of like, well, not kind of, like all the emotions were hitting him. And I was frightened. It's like, this big man's getting weepy. And like, because I can't comprehend what was going on at the same time as it being said, but I still kind of kept it going. And then, Greg kind of broke down during our interview, which is just very sweet, very touching. And when we hugged it out then. And then, it was over. Greg even said after like all was over, it's like, oh, wow. It's like, it's like, I didn't expect that. It's like, also, I was like, I was so nervous about you because you had the notebook. When I saw you threw it away, it's like, okay, this might be all right. But and at that time it kind of hit me too. It's like, holy crap, he didn't need to share that at all.
No,
he could just the basic thing, hey, I'm IGN, promote this. But no, he got super personal, and that's at the time where I started to like that's from the moment he invited me to the table to everything I went through that interview. Is like, oh, that's Greg Miller. That's who that is. And that's when I became like just a super fan, super honed in, follow him on Going Beyond Out, starting Gamer with Greggy, and start Kind of Funny. Well, I kind of went back through Gamer with Greggy, but that's where we kind of like I latched on to there, to like Tim, Nick, Greg, and all them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was I edited. Did I edit that interview? Whatever. Either editing the interview or rewatching it after you edited. I can't remember exactly how we did stuff back then. But after the final product, after seeing that, is when I kind of started being like, okay, this Greg Miller guy is actually more than just his Gauntlet character. And then meeting him at the GameStop Expo a year later, and him asking me how you were doing. I think that was before RTX 2015. And like this person he barely met, like, and me barely met, and asking and stuff like that. And yeah, to be fair, again, he asked you, how's the other Constantly Calibrating guy doing? Just to be clear, because that is the longest running joke between us and Kind of Funny, that Greg has never learned our names and I'm constantly, and he's calibrating, or vice versa. I actually don't really remember who's whom.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I mean, it just started this whole journey, that experience.
Yeah, and the same thing, like, even with Monty Moan afterwards, like, such a great person, such an easy interview, because he'll pretty much just take it, lead it, and go, and he just kind of fits stuff in between. And just everyone else we had after that, too. Like, it was like a life-changing moment for me, too. It was like, this is something I never thought I would do.
Well, the alarm bells went off, I feel like, for both of us.
Oh, yeah. And then, we're there doing it. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I think it was, like, this taught a lot about us. And, like, again, if you ever want to, like, people always talk about, like, that catalyst moment, that moment that changed things, that moment that brought you to a new perspective on yourself or whatnot. Like, that would be mine. And I believe the same, for you as well. It was this moment where we just kind of zeroed in a little bit more on exactly who we were and what we wanted to be doing.
Yeah, from there, I mean, we just blossomed on out, just hitting goal after goal, which I'm surprised. I mean, it shouldn't be because we pursued it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we made one goal, we hit it. We did another one, we hit it. Mm-hmm. Big overall dream of mine, hit E3, actually cover it, and we did it. Mm-hmm. And like, it doesn't matter if I like make it into the game industry as much as I want to. It doesn't matter where at, but I can at least say I did it. Like, I actually lived that life for a bit. It was awesome. I love it.
Yep.
And it sparks every time we have like that type of convention, even though like I do have like my mental health issues where I will actually break down during a convention at the worst possible time.
Usually, yeah.
Oh yeah, usually like in a party with everybody who you want to talk to, where everybody's having a damn good time and you're just fucking sulking in a corner.
I mean, it's not just you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff. And to be fair, in the early days of us going to parties, I went into networking mode and abandoned you half the time. So I would run off, and then Brian would also run off because Brian was usually. I don't understand the logistics of it because you and I drank a fair bit, but Brian was somehow always like. As drunk as
in places.
He was drunk as both of us combined, the most things. So he would abandon, I would abandon, then you were left alone. And like in a very unfamiliar thing, you're more social now, but certainly back then you weren't a social person. So like, who the fuck can blame you for for kind of like just being like sitting in the corner. It happens.
Oh yeah, it's so weird because like every single year too at RTX that we keep getting into parties we're not supposed to be at. But and like yeah, of course, like imposter syndrome hits in. Like, why am I here? Who are these people? I'm not supposed to be here, but at the same time, I'm there.
Yep.
But it still never sinks in until later. And I forgot where we were going with this conversation, to be honest.
I mean, this literally started from Nathan asking what your one sentence was, and that was almost 40 minutes
Holy
ago.
Crap. We got that.
You answered it. I mean, you answered the question. We just went on a journey after that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what happens. But like I know I love this industry. I know I love gaming. I know I love talking about games because I've mentioned this a ton of times too. It's not my best job by any means, but my favorite job was starting at GameStop. Because that's back. I had a really good manager, and as far as GameStop goes, the store experience, your working experience, really depends on how good the management is there.
Sure.
And GameStop is very much a shit rolls downhill kind of job, and my manager was very good about blocking it at her level and not let it rain down on us, and just gave us our goals, got us to get there, but didn't like hammer it in. So like your fate's dependent on this. You got to do it. You got to get these numbers. But no, she's very good about that. But yeah, I mean that's also where I started opening up too, because I was extremely shy at that point. To the point when I was hired, our district manager came in at the time, which was also district manager too. She straight went to my manager. She's like, "Is something wrong with him?" Because I was just like there's like a point where like the countertops meet, and I just like stayed in that corner. That was my space, and then I didn't like approach anybody unless I was approached. And that branched out to where I actually started approaching people because it was my job. But I started enjoying it, and I started seeking it, and then I just really, really love talking to people about games, finding, sharing my interest with them, helping them find a new interest, and like whoa, sorry, that was something else coming up. I never sold anybody something they didn't want, and I frequently found them something that they very much enjoy but never would try, and I just loved it. Like it was a really tight knit group. It's just like you had my regulars and stuff like that. It was good times, but yeah, that's where I just know it's like I love this. This is something I want to do. It's just I haven't find out. Like it's that biggest thing. It's like here's the plan. ? Profit. I still don't got the question mark part right. Trying to transfer that into something I can actually get paid for. Just if I do full time. It's something I would love to, but
I mean, it's the logistics of it all. There's a lot of moving parts and moving pieces. We just got to figure it out.
And like y'all in the stories, like I just, I mean, I work a full time job. That goes beyond hours. And then like when I'm getting home, I'm just mentally spent, and physically spent at time too. To the point, like when I have time off, like it is 100% decompressing time. I literally slept all last Saturday, which could be another problem itself. But
that's another problem in of itself potentially. But I mean, your body needs to shut down sometimes. It happens, you know. Yeah. Not usually at the most awkward or awful of times. So. We have talked for a very long time. I don't even think we have hit like half the topics we wanted to, which makes me think there's going to be a part 2 of this.
I'm 100% down for a part 2 where I'll probably just rehash everything that happened in part 1. Nah,
we'll go listen to part 1 and then we'll actually make a little bit more of a concrete which couple things we want to hit. But I want to hit the questions.
Yes.
I want to hit some of the questions we got. So
I'm shocked we have them.
we got a few questions here. Sithos, for instance, asked in chat, what is Justin's preferred position during cuddles? Sithos is asking this because there's a fair chance the two of them are sharing a bed at PAX West.
Very much. So Sithos, this is all for you, and it's good news for you too. I can play any role. Like I don't mind being Big Spoon if I have
can confirm.
Yep. And I like being cuddled myself. Like I love receiving, and I am comfortable at any of those levels. So it's pretty much it depends on the need of the cuddlee.
What my position
is. Yes. Like I fulfill what the needs are, and I feel good doing that. If that makes any sense. I like to help people.
Yep. Yeah.
Making them feel good makes me feel good.
I think that's best. Let's see here.
So pick your position, Thithos. Don't worry about it.
Pirate King asks, can we have you two, meaning Justin and myself, always wear name Can we always have you two wear name tags so that we can differentiate between Josh and Justin? See, I find this is Pirate King's favorite joke about us looking alike, preferring to call me Justin and call him Josh. The funny thing is, I don't think we look as much alike as we used to. So the old story was Star Wars Galaxies hit. We ended up in the same guild. That guild had a forum. On the forum, it started hey, we've been playing games together for X amount of time. What do you look like? And everyone started sharing pictures, and I will still remember to this day, you shared a picture at the exact same time as I did. Like, we weren't really friendly. We were friendly, but we weren't, like, friends then. We shared pictures at the exact same time, and when I refreshed to see my picture posted, yours appeared on the screen instead of my own, and I got really confused because I'm like, I don't remember taking this picture, and I had Charnel come over, and I'm like, who the fuck is... And then she's like, well, that's not your username, is it? And I looked and I'm like, JP. Oh, wait, that's what Justin, what? And like, I had a complete existential breakdown. And I think I even messaged you in game, like, why did you steal my face? But apparently you thought the exact same thing. And I think our friendship started entirely, like, went from being like, oh, he's a guy in the guild, to we actually became friends because we looked alike, is what started the conversations.
Also, I think you made a lot more friends after that, but for the wrong reasons too, because you finally got Charnel to post her picture. And it was like, goddamn, Josh, how?
That is a fact. It took me a while to get Charnel to post the picture, and it literally turned into the creepiest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. A lot of horny, like... so this is Galaxies. This is end of 2005. So a bunch. So let's say 2005. Charnel was, how old was she? She would have been 18, and like just turned 18 like a month or two before this. And some of the most horny mid 30s to mid 50s people just started sliding into her DMs and also sliding into mine, asking me how that happened. And I was like, cool. She thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I thought it was creepy. She thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
I think I joked about it with her some too. We talked a lot at 10. No reason why we talked a lot, Josh.
No, none at all. No.
But yeah, no. I mean, and then also like eventually brought us to the fateful time of Mustafar trying to hunt a specific Jedi robe, which never dropped because we're in the wrong fucking area. But that was a life-changing moment that we just all became. Oh, it's the fucking like Step Brothers mode. It's like, are we best friends now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, I know the moment you and I became best friends in my mind.
You froze.
Am I frozen?
You're back now.
Okay. I know the moment you and I became best friends, at least from my perspective. Like, that was a huge moment as well. But my best friend moment when I knew I appreciated you was when my mom died. And she had died on December 21st of 2005. And then on December 31st, New Year's Eve day, New Year's Eve day, I was waiting. Charnel, Steven, who I literally met Steven this particular night. He was the boyfriend of Charnel's childhood best friend, Leah, which, funny note, Sithos actually dated years ago. Let's just talk small world. Have you never heard the story that Sithos and Leah dated and went on a massive date with Charnel and I, and Sithos figured that out recently?
No.
Yeah, we figured it out because we had Leah's a mutual friend between us on Facebook, and I asked, "How the fuck do you know her?" But we met during essentially Sithos' like teen years. I would have been probably like 20 or 19 at the time, thereabouts. But anyways, yeah, so small world here. But so Leo was dating this guy Steven at the time, brought him over, and that's the Constantly Calibrating founder, for those, not aware. But when I was waiting for them, I was clearly very depressed. My mom had just died 10 days earlier. And this guy, Justin, who I barely knew, sends me a message like, you want to go crate dragon hunting?
Oh, yes, because we needed to get stuff for our role-playing.
Yeah, we were in a role-playing Jedi guild at that time, and you asked me, because it was known that my mom died. I had posted about it on the guild forums or something like that, and I was just very open about it. But you invited me out, and literally, like, that was such a fucking amazing day, like evening waiting for people. Then like I'm like, I think I told Sharna like the next day, I'm like, I kind of want to marry this guy Justin because he made me feel good in a way you didn't, and which because I was very mad at her. I was irrationally mad at her about my mom's death. There's no reason about it. That's the whole thing. But I got used to get mad at her about it because that's how my broken brain was dealing with shit. But yeah, but like I was just like I told her, which also didn't help, Charnel's belief that I was gay, secretly. Whole other thing. Someone's gonna have to interview me at one point to get into my rambling brain. But yeah. So anyways, yeah. So that was like my big moment.
I don't know if I want to interview you. I mean, I would love to do it, but Brad is honestly really good at interviews.
He is.
Doesn't know it.
He's phenomenal at it, and
I think he would do a good job.
I do too. Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that one.
That or we just do a roast one together or both.
A few different people have been pitching roasts to me for a while now. The roast of Josh Silverman.
That's because they got shit they want to get off their chest.
It's mostly people who got shit to get off their chest, and I don't blame them. No, yeah, well, I mean, my 35th birthday is next year, and well, yours too. We should do roasts of each other. Anyways,
yeah, I know.
But that being said, let's move on to another question here. We got So the Pirate King thing. Asked about name tag. So like, here's the thing. So we look so much alike, right? During this era. Mm-hmm. I don't think Justin and I actually look that much alike anymore. I think our faces have changed enough. Like we still kind of got like that generic Eastern European, like white guy look to us. But I just think as we've gotten older, like we were not as close visually as we used to. Because again, we used to look like the same fucking person.
Yeah, I mean, my main answer is Pirate King. You're a racist. Did you really think about that?
He should. He really should. Jesus Christ. So yeah, let's see. We got one more question. I'm not sure who I know. Real Ryan Furster. I'm not sure who this individual is.
Ooh, yeah, rings a bell, but I'm not sure.
Bell, but I'm not really sure. Asked.
Also, I'm terrified.
What was the most embarrassing thing to happen to you in middle school? He says, bear all interview, make it something juicy too, dagnammit. Oh, it says damn it, but I like dagnammit more.
I don't have anything too juicy. One that sticks in mind is like someone asked me for a piece of paper, and then when like I bent over to get it from my book bag, I just ripped the loudest fart ever. I
mean, in middle school terms, that's a good one.
Yeah, it didn't like even the person I gave papers was just like, "Thank you, but don't fart again." It's like I wanted to rip a piece of paper up, but I had no spine at the time, so I just rolled with it. So yeah, that was horrible for a kid at that time. That was in middle school, actually. Yeah, it wasn't high school yet.
Nice. I'm
trying to think if there's anything else, but like my memory at that time is just blah.
I sadly can remember a lot of things I did in middle school, and
you need therapy.
At least one of them I really should have. I do too. At the time, one of the things I really should have been way more embarrassed about it than I was. I'm embarrassed now about it, but at the time I didn't think it was that weird. Like I once masturbated in the middle of English class.
I remember this story.
I think it was English class. I'm pretty sure it was English class. And asked years later because I was still friendly at the time with people who like sat in the same like, because it was like pod setup, like kind of thing, because it was a magnet school. Like, did you know I did this?
About to come up with the things like you're definitely dousing that ink pen or something. I don't know. Anyways,
but like I asked them, like, did you notice me doing anything weird? And they were like, no. What were you doing? I'm like, don't ask. That's cool. I was a weird, extremely horny kid in middle school, and didn't think anything of some really fucking odd behavior. And yeah.
Fetish?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. I also was super embarrassed about. I didn't like to take my clothes off in like the locker room of gym. So
I didn't either.
So I would actually wear 2 layers of boxers and 2 layers of pants. I'd wear jeans. I did this from 7th grade through 9th grade, where I'd wear 2 layers of underwear. I'd wear briefs then boxers, then I'd wear a pair of shorts, and then I'd wear a pair of jeans on top of that every single day. So that I could fake change for gym and stuff like that, and I could fake out the system by never actually I was a never nude, I guess, essentially by those like the standards. But I was like so fucking terrified of I don't know why being naked. It's funny because now I could give two shits.
Same.
So cleanup wasn't an issue, if you catch my drift, because I literally just excused myself to go to the bathroom and threw the underwear in the garbage, and I also carried change of clothes at all times.
God damn. I should have, because like in elementary school, I definitely wet my pants. That happened.
Yeah, I know. Elementary school, I wet my pants all the time. I had a huge issue with that.
Yeah, but no, like me in high school with changing and stuff like that, I was the more overly prepared and rehearsed type. That I'm like, all right, everybody's doing their thing. I'm in a corner. Like I was the fucking Flash when like getting into like my gym clothes. It's like, yep. I'm good. That was the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, awkward times. Dumb times.
It's the dumb shit we used to be awkward and weirded out about that I look back on now and I'm just like I don't like my body. I don't like seeing myself naked, but I could really just give two shit. But it's the thing I never understood as a kid. I'm like, how is it that like these people in their like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s are going into these locker rooms and just strutting around naked, hanging dong around.
So comfortable with it,
and it's not that they're so comfortable, it's you just stop giving a fuck when you hit a certain age. Like I'm not gonna wander around a men's locker room with my dick hanging out, but at the same time it's like
I may in my later years, we'll find out.
Oh, give me 10 years, I'll be there. But like right now
it's just be like, all these old people that just don't give a fuck and just have balls hanging out, stretching. That's my future.
No, that's probably my future as well, but it's like now it's just like I just don't. It also has to do with the fact that so many people I'm friends with have seen me in various states of nudity that I also just don't care that much. I've been literally trying to post lewd pictures of myself on Twitter for like 2 years now, and so nobody's requesting them, so I'm not doing it. It's just like
them. Back when we ever get Patreon set back up.
Yeah, we got Patreon set up that Josh randomly, so it'll be Constantly Calibrating and Josh's Ludes. I should have started a Patreon for personal stuff just when they before they changed their thing over. I should have done that.
Or I predict one day you'll get so starved for attention, you'll be like, oh no, my iCloud got hacked. What are these? Even though you don't have an iPhone.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't claim hacks. I would just be like, hey, I'm feeling confident. May delete later. I won't. I'll never delete. I don't know how to delete tweets. I'm not Trouble Truck. I don't delete tweets. Yeah, I'm calling it out. He'll never listen to this show. Yeah, so those are the questions, are the things. If anyone else has any more in the next few minutes, let us know. But we've been going for a while now. This has been a really good. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did this for the re-debut show. Even if we didn't quite hit everything, I'm glad we did this. And explored what this format of the show could be, but also explored you. I hope this is kind of close to what you envisioned when you pitched this idea.
That and more.
That and more.
We'll see. It was good. I didn't know what to expect from this, honestly. That seems to be cool to get interviewed. But yeah, I mean, this is a good combination of just our relationship for anybody who's like, oh man, how'd y'all start? And it's like, oh, you come watch this fucking episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think it was less interview and more discussion-based thing, but that's kind of my interview style, so it's kind of hard for me to break out of that to do strict interview. So I overall, I think this went really well. I hope people enjoy it. Any other final thoughts from you before I do some outro-y spiel shit?
I'll have those thoughts later. So go ahead for it.
Clear enough. So, before we get the proper outro, this is the first episode back of Constantly Calibrating podcast. This is episode, I think 292. It's episode 292 of the Constantly Calibrating podcast. The show is going to be live on mixer.com/ConCalPod. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Next week will be our first big team thing. So far, we have confirmed myself, Justin, Ryan. And actually, it just got confirmed before this episode. Hologram Dream, Angelina, from Exato Games is coming back. I did a one-on-one thing with her last year. Since then, she's actually become a really good friend of mine. And she's coming back because next week, July 30th, when this is happening, is the launch of their game, Elo Hell. So we're going to talk about their game, or about her game. We're going to talk about what that is. We already talked about it once on an episode, but we're going to go a little more into it, discuss what it is. And then we're then just going to see where the show takes us, because new format, we interview people, but it's also the classic Constantly Calibrating format where, if we go on a fucking tangent talking about the random things, hopefully not masturbation stuff, but probably
but it
not.
Usually always is masturbation.
That definitely is a weird hallmark of some it's why why I'll stream sometimes in teen, but I'll probably game stuff, but I will never bump a Constantly Calibrating podcast down to from 18 plus. Maybe Catch All I would do at a teen level, but I would probably never bump this down.
We'll just always get to that point. It's like, Josh, you keep bringing up the time you masturbated in middle school.
At least I don't talk about the Greyhound bus. Anyways, so moving on.
Writing that down for your interview?
So anyways, the weird places. Anyways, so that being said, thank you all for joining us. We are also on Facebook at facebook.com/Constantly Calibrating, Twitter at ConCalPod. I'm at BearPunch. Justin is at Justin_Glorious. Also go follow on BearPunch on Mixer. He's Justin Glorious, no underscore on Mixer. And pretty much all other places except for Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
Twitter's the only one with the underscore. Check Instagram, instagram.com/Constantly Calibrating. You can come chat with us on Discord at constantlycalibrating.com/Discord. Please make sure you leave us a review wherever you are able to. It really does help get the podcast in front of more listeners. And as we discovered last month, apparently that's how we get media badges at E3. It's reviews. So iTunes and Spotify help the most with review related things. So please go leave a review there. With that, we bid you good sign off.